Beneath the scorched red clay of Chu Chi, the very earth seemed to breathe, hiding an invisible city that would completely baffle the world's most advanced military. In the mid-1960s, American soldiers patrolling the dense rubber plantations northwest of Saigon began reporting a chilling, phantom-like sensation. They felt they were being watched by an invisible enemy who materialized from the jungle floor, struck with deadly precision, and then vanished back into the earth. Patrols would thoroughly search a village, find only elderly farmers tending to their crops, and then, minutes after departing, come under heavy fire from the exact location they had just cleared. How could hundreds of heavily armed soldiers disappear into thin air on a flat, open landscape? The secret to this military mystery lay just a few inches beneath their combat boots. A massive, multi-layered underground network stretched for hundreds of miles, directly underneath the feet of the U.S. military's most heavily fortified bases, including the massive 25th Infantry Division, headquarters at Dongdu. For years, the world's most advanced military machine walked directly over their enemies' bedrooms, completely unaware of the subterranean labyrinth below. This was not just a series of simple hiding holes. It was a fully functioning underground society. It contained kitchens, hospitals, factories, and sleeping quarters, all carved by hand out of the stubborn clay. The sheer scale of this engineering marvel challenges our understanding of human endurance. It is a story of how a peasant population, equipped with nothing but simple hand tools and sheer determination, turned the very soil of their homeland into an invincible weapon of survival and resistance. The psychological toll on the soldiers above was devastating, knowing that at any moment the ground could open up and spit fire before sealing shut again. This was a war fought on two completely different planes: a high-tech war of helicopters and napalm on the surface, and a silent, primitive, yet incredibly sophisticated war of survival beneath the earth. The contrast could not have been more stark. On the surface, the Americans deployed the full weight of their industrial might, utilizing heavy artillery, chemical, defoliants, and carpet-bombing B-52s. Yet, just a few meters below, the defenders of Chu Chi lived, worked, and planned their next moves in absolute silence, utilizing the very earth as their shield. This exploration will take us deep into that dark, suffocating world, revealing the secrets of the underground city that defied a superpower. To understand how this subterranean empire came to be, we must look at the unique geography of Chu Chi and the long history of Vietnamese resistance. Chu Chi lies on a transition zone between the rugged central highlands and the flat, swampy Mekong Delta. This location is blessed with a highly specific geological feature, a dense, iron-rich clay known as laterite. When this clay is wet, it is soft and relatively easy to excavate. However, once it is exposed to air, it undergoes a chemical process that hardens it into a durable, concrete-like substance. This unique soil profile made it highly resistant to cave-ins, water erosion, and even the concussive shockwaves of heavy artillery. The origins of the tunnels date back to the late 1940s, during the First Indochina War against French colonial forces. Initially, local resistance fighters dug simple, disconnected hiding spots, known as hum bi mut, to conceal political cadres, store weapons, and evade French search operations. These early tunnels were modest, often just large enough to hide a few people for a few hours. However, as the conflict escalated into the Second Indochina War in the early 1960s, the National Liberation Front realized that their survival depended on expanding these isolated shelters. Facing the overwhelming technological and aerial superiority of the United States, the fighters and local villagers of Chu Chi began connecting the individual chambers. They transformed them into a continuous, sprawling network that eventually spanned over 250 kilometers. This strategic location was critical. It sat directly on the main supply routes, leading from the Ho Chi Minh Trail into Saigon, making it the perfect staging ground for covert operations. The tunnels allowed the NLF to maintain a constant presence right on the doorstep of the South Vietnamese capital, serving as a dagger pointed at the heart of the Saigon regime. The expansion was not merely a military decision, but a community-wide effort. Entire families, including women and children, participated in the digging, driven by a shared determination to defend their land. They dug through the hard clay, hour after hour, creating a network that would eventually define the nature of the war in this region. This collective effort was fueled by a deep-seated connection to the land and a historical memory of resistance against foreign intervention. The villagers did not see themselves merely as passive victims of a global conflict, but as active participants in the defense of their homes. This perspective is crucial for understanding why they were willing to endure the unimaginable hardships of underground life. The construction of the Chu Chi tunnels is one of the most astonishing engineering feats in military history, accomplished entirely without modern machinery. Every single meter of the 250-kilometer network was excavated by hand using simple hoes, shovels, and wicker baskets. Digging was a highly dangerous and secretive operation, conducted mostly at night to avoid detection by American aerial reconnaissance. The physical toll on the diggers was immense. The air inside the newly carved passages was so thick and depleted of oxygen that workers could only dig for 10 to 15 minutes before needing to be dragged out to the surface to breathe. The disposal of the excavated soil presented a monumental logistical challenge. If American scout helicopters spotted fresh, bright red clay on the green landscape, they would immediately mark the area for heavy bombardment. To solve this, the diggers developed ingenious methods of concealment. They carried the soil out in the dead of night and spread it thinly over freshly plowed rice paddies, dumped it into nearby rivers, or used it to construct fake house foundations and defensive berms. The internal architecture of the tunnels was carefully designed in 3 distinct levels, each serving a specific purpose. Level 1, situated about 3 meters below the surface, was the combat zone. It featured firing posts, trapdoors, and escape routes leading into the jungle. Level 2, at 6 meters deep, served as the living quarters. Here, one could find dormitories, meeting rooms, weapon workshops, and fully operational hospitals. Level 3, plunging to depths of 10 to 12 meters, was the ultimate bomb shelter. It was designed to withstand direct hits from heavy artillery and the earth-shaking impact of B-52 carpet bombings. This deepest level also contained freshwater wells, ensuring that the defenders could survive prolonged sieges without ever needing to surface. Ventilation was achieved through tiny, angled air shafts disguised as termite mounds, hollow bamboo poles, or natural animal burrows, allowing fresh air to circulate while keeping the openings invisible to the enemy. The air shafts were constructed at a 45-degree angle to prevent water or grenades from being dropped directly into the living quarters. This meticulous attention to detail transformed a simple network of trenches into a highly sophisticated, self-sustaining underground fortress. The engineering also accounted for the physical size of the combatants. The tunnels were purposefully constructed to be extremely narrow and low, averaging only about 80 centimeters wide and 1.2 meters high. This was designed to accommodate the smaller stature of the Vietnamese fighters while making it nearly impossible for larger Western soldiers to navigate them easily, effectively turning the physical dimensions of the space into a natural defense mechanism. As the conflict intensified, the U.S. military realized that a massive, invisible force was operating directly under their feet, launching devastating ambush attacks, vanishing without a trace. In response, they launched massive search and destroy operations, such as Operation Crimp in 1966 and Operation Cedar Falls in 1967. These operations involved carpet bombing the region, clearing vast swathes of jungle with giant Rome plows, and declaring Chu Chi a free fire zone. When conventional bombardment failed to collapse the deep, resilient tunnel chambers, the military turned to a specialized group of volunteer soldiers known as the Tunnel Rats. These men, selected for their small physical stature and immense mental fortitude, crawled into the stack. Pitch black, narrow shafts, armed only with a flashlight, a caliber .45 pistol, and a knife. It was a terrifying, claustrophobic game of survival. Inside the suffocating darkness, the Tunnel Rats faced not only armed defenders, but an array of lethal low-tech booby traps. There were punji stick traps, smeared with animal waste to cause infection, tripwires connected to unexploded American ordnance, and trapdoors that dropped unsuspecting soldiers onto sharpened bamboo stakes. The defenders also utilized nature as a weapon, placing venomous scorpions and pit vipers inside hollow bamboo tubes, designed to strike when disturbed by a passing soldier. The air inside the tunnels was thick with the smell of sweat, blood, cordite, and decaying organic matter. Every turn in the tunnel could bring a face-to-face encounter with a defender, waiting in the dark, or a sudden drop into a spiked pit. Despite the high casualties and intense psychological trauma suffered by both sides, the tunnel network remained largely functional. The zigzag design of the tunnels prevented explosions and poison gas from traveling far down the shafts, ensuring that the core of the underground city remained protected. Even when the Americans pumped water or tear gas into the tunnels, the defenders utilized water-sealed trapdoors, similar to the U-bends in modern plumbing, to block the gas and water from reaching the living quarters. This clash of two completely different military philosophies reached its peak in the dark, narrow shafts of Chu Chi, where high technology was neutralized by primitive, yet incredibly effective, defensive tactics. The Tunnel Rats had to rely on their sense of touch and hearing more than their sight, as the beam of a flashlight would immediately give away their position to a waiting sniper. They would feel the walls for thin wires, listen for the faint click of a trigger, and try to detect the subtle movement of air that indicated a nearby chamber or an Axel's impending ambush. This was a war stripped of all modern technological advantages, reduced to a primal face-to-face struggle for survival in the bowels of the Bras Earth, while the tunnels provided a secure shield against the devastating firepower on the surface. Daily life inside was a grueling test of human endurance. The underground environment was hot, humid, and completely devoid of natural light. Malaria, skin diseases, and intestinal parasites ran rampant among the tunnel dwellers. Almost everyone suffered from chronic respiratory issues due to the lack of oxygen and the constant inhalation of dust, mold, and smoke. To cook meals, without revealing their positions to enemy aircraft, they used the revolutionary Hoang Cam stove. This ingenious device, named after its inventor, utilized a series of long underground flues that cooled and diffused the smoke, releasing it slowly at ground level, far away from the actual kitchen, making it virtually invisible from the air. Under these extreme conditions, life continued. Doctors performed complex surgeries, including amputations, brain operations, in underground medical bays using basic tools and local anesthetics, with light provided by kerosene lamps made from spent bullet casings or bicycle-powered generators. Children attended school in underground classrooms, learning their lessons while bombs detonated overhead. The primary diet consisted of boiled cassava, a starchy root vegetable dipped in a mixture of salt, sesame, and crushed peanuts. Water was scarce and had to be rationed carefully, often drawn from deep wells that were vulnerable to contamination. The sheer willpower required to endure this existence for months, and sometimes years, is almost beyond comprehension. Even when the US military sprayed millions of gallons of defoliants like Agent Orange to strip the jungle, canopy, and systematically bulldozed the topsoil, the people of Chu Chi adapted, retreating deeper into the earth and refusing to yield. They recycled unexploded American bombs to manufacture their own landmines and booby traps, turning the enemy's own weapons against them. This cycle of survival and resistance continued until the very end of the war, proving that the human capacity to adapt is almost limitless. The lack of sunlight was one of the most insidious challenges. Many tunnel dwellers developed a ghostly, pale complexion, and their eyes grew highly sensitive to the rare moments they could surface under the cover of night. Vitamin deficiencies led to widespread rickets and night blindness, while the dampness caused painful joint aches and fungal infections that covered their skin. Yet, despite these physical torments, the social fabric of the underground community remained unbroken. They established a system of governance, held theatrical performances to boost morale, and even celebrated marriages in the subterranean chambers, demonstrating an extraordinary determination to preserve their humanity in the provident face of total destruction. The legacy of the Chu Chi tunnels offers a profound lesson in the dynamics of asymmetric warfare and the limits of modern military power. It demonstrates that technological superiority, massive firepower, and complete air dominance can be countered by a deeply motivated force utilizing their environment, patience, and innovative engineering. The tunnels were not merely a military defensive position, were a physical manifestation of a community's determination to survive and resist. The builders of Chu Chi turned their very soil, the ground they farmed, into an active instrument of defense. This forced modern military strategists to completely rethink the nature of subterranean warfare, a doctrine that remains highly relevant in contemporary conflicts around the globe. For Vietnam, the tunnels have become a powerful symbol of national resilience and unity. They show how ordinary rural citizens, farmers, teachers, and teenagers became engineers and soldiers out of necessity, adapting to the most hostile conditions imaginable. The story of Chu Chi teaches us that the human spirit, when driven by a profound sense of purpose and defense of country, can find ways to endure and overcome even the most overwhelming material disadvantages. It challenges the conventional view of military victory, showing that the ultimate factor in warfare is often the psychological resilience of the people, rather than the sophistication of their weaponry. The tunnels of Chu Chi stand as a monument to this truth, a physical reminder that even the most powerful nations must respect the power of local determination and the deep historical connection between a people and their land. This historical lesson is not confined to the past. It serves as a case study for modern military academies worldwide, highlighting the enduring truth that technology is only as effective as the human resolve it encounters. In the decades since the war, military analysts have repeatedly pointed to Chu Chi as the ultimate example of how high-tech warfare can be neutralized by low-tech, highly adaptable strategies. The tunnels prove that control of the skies and superior firepower do not automatically translate to control of the ground, especially when the ground itself is active and hostile. This realization forced a shift in global military thinking, emphasizing the need for cultural understanding, local intelligence, and the psychological dimensions of conflict. The legacy of Chu Chi is a stark reminder that the most sophisticated weapon systems are ultimately limited by the human capacity to resist and endure. Today, the battlefields of Chu Chi are silent. The bomb craters have been filled, and the lush green jungle has reclaimed the once scarred landscape. The tunnels themselves have been preserved as a national historic site, with some sections widened and reinforced to allow international visitors to experience a small fraction of what life was like in this subterranean city. Walking through the quiet, shaded forests of Chu Chi today, it is difficult to grasp the sheer scale of violence and the incredible human endurance that occurred directly beneath your feet. It forces us to reflect on the nature of conflict and the immense sacrifices made by those who lived and fought in the dark. How would you have coped with the claustrophobic reality of living underground for months on end? Could you have survived in a world where the sun was a luxury and the earth was your only shield? The preservation of these tunnels serves as a living museum, a place where history is not just read about in books, but physically felt. In the damp, narrow passages that still smell of the earth, it is a powerful reminder of the cost of war and the resilience of the human spirit. Visitors from all over the world come to walk these grounds, stepping down into the darkness to catch a fleeting glimpse of a reality that defined a generation. It is an experience that leaves a lasting impression, challenging our perceptions of what is possible when human survival is at stake. If you found this journey into the depths of Vietnamese history compelling, please hit the like button, share this video with fellow history enthusiasts, and subscribe to our .com channel. Your engagement helps us continue to bring these powerful, deeply researched, and cinematic stories of human history to a global audience. Don't forget to leave a comment below with your thoughts on the engineering marvel of Chu Chi. We read every comment and love hearing your perspectives on these incredible historical events. What part of the tunnel design surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and we will see you in the next episode as we continue to uncover the fascinating stories of Vietnam's past. Thank you for watching, and keep exploring the deep layers of our shared history.